sengaliwe intombi intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni ezengishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni ezengishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya zawushiya umtebekaya owasenkatele zawuyeka umtebekaya owasenkatele mina zawuyeka owasenkatele zawuyeka senkatele mina intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni ezengishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni ezengishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya sengaliwe 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 intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni ezengishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya bathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni ezengishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika ngasimunga nomoya intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni ezengishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni ezengishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni ezengishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya intombi zakithi zangishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika ngasimunga nomoya intombi zakithi zaqoma emazweni zangishiya sengibathe ngiyakhala ngiyazibika kodwa ngasimunga nomoya
Kokwenene tihamba, kokwenene tibeke koli sana lwa. Tabeti no mama, keseti nekriya wachanga pampili. Kokwenene tihamba, kokwenene tibeke koli sana lwa. Jago jali ay, jago jali mimi ale rakimtaka mama. Iyo tihamba. Koli sana la Jago jali mimi ale rakinda kama mama Iyo jamba Iyo jibeke koli sana la Babeti no mama phambili kokwenene hamba kokwenene tibeke kolisana lwa kabeti no mama kesi tinekria bachaka phambili kokwenene hamba kokwenene tibeke kolisana lwa no mama, and for me not stand alone. Tibalaki ni tuvai ni nana rakinda ga mama. Jago Jalia, Jago Jali ni nana rakinda ga mama. Iyo dia hamba, iyo dibenge ko lisana lo. Jago Jalia, Jago Jali ni nana rakinda ga mama. You beg and call, it's an alarm. Hello, mama. Jago Jalia, Jago Jalia, ninyale rakita na mama. Iyo dia hamba, iyo dibenge koli sonala. Jago Jalia, Jago Jalia, ninyale rakita na mama. Chwenka phambili okwenene dihamba okwenene dibeke kolisana lwa. Never been who I wanna be. I've never felt completely free. No one's ever had all of me or made me feel so beautiful and sexy. Now I'm flying like an airplane. Now I'm running on the open range. Now I'm living on my destiny. I know the truth, I got it all in you and me. I'm giving myself over to you, body and soul, I'm giving it over. I'm giving myself over to you now, like a brand new day. Now you and I with a face of fire. no. And from my feelings, I never have to run away no more. 'Cause he's here, holding me tight, oh, every day and night. Oh, baby, can't you see? I don't want to be without you anymore. I'm giving myself over to you, body and soul. I'm giving it over. I'm giving myself over to you. I'm giving myself over to you, body and soul. I'm giving it over. I'm giving myself over to you. For the first time, I can stand in front of someone. Finally, I can be me. I can just let my life spill over. I can cry. I don't have to lie. I can finally let someone all the way inside. All the way, all the way, all the way. I'm giving myself over to you, body and soul. I'm giving it over. I'm giving myself over to you. I'm giving myself over to you, body and soul. I'm giving it over. I'm giving myself over to you now. You've been on my mind. I grow fonder every day, lose myself in time. Just thinking of your face, God only knows why it's taken me so long to let my doubts go. 'Cause you're the only one that I want. I don't know why I'm scared, 'cause I've been here before. Every feeling, every word, I've imagined it all. You never know if you never try to forgive your past and simply be mine. I dare you to let me be your one and only. I promise I'm worthy to hold in your arms. So come on, just give me the chance to prove that I'm the one who can walk that mile until the end starts. If I've been on your mind, you hang on every word I say. Lose yourself in time. At the mention Thank you. Music in the air. There's music in the air. It makes the sorrow go. Let the music take you there. Far from the world, you know. You can feel it when you feel. Then you know love. I can feel it when I sing. Then I know love. If ever someday you come to know your song, I will show you a way. Your heart can come along. I can feel it when I sing. Then I know love. There's a joy in everything. We're made for love. Look for love in the music, lost in the melody. You'll find love. Look for love in the music, lost in the melody. You'll find love. There's music in the air. It makes the sorrow go. Let the music take you there. Far from the world, you know. I can feel it when I sing. Then I know love. lost in the melody, you'll find love. Look for love in the music, lost in the melody, you'll find love.
Come on down, Angelina. Come on down. Angelina. My sweet foreigner. You are my lady, you are my lady, my number one lady. You are my lady, oh how I love you, how I need you, Angelina, Angelina. You are my lady, you are my lady, my number one lady. You are my lady, oh how I love you, how I need you, Angelina, Angelina. Angelina, hey. You are my lady, you are my lady, my number one lady. You are my lady, oh how I love you, how I need you, Angelina, Angelina. You are my lady, you are my lady, my number one lady. You are my lady, oh how I love you, how I need you, Angelina, Angelina. What's the way? What's the way? Chancellor. You are my lady, you are my lady, my number one lady. You are my lady. Oh, how I love you. Oh, I need you, Angelina. Angelina.
Oh, I was talking to. I don't know how to summarize. I don't know how to summarize.
The president and the PEC and the MPCs and the PEC, don't call them by names. He's not here. Don't call them by names. Just say ANC, PEC, provincial executive and committee members, and then CA and traditional leaders that are here. Not names.
Good evening. My name is Ntibi Mayepa. I am the Deputy Registrar, Governance and Legal Services here at the University of Fort Hare. I have the distinct honor of welcoming you on behalf of the university community. We had a whole thing prepared to show that we'd done our homework, but because time does not allow, I will not mention everybody by name, except perhaps a few. It is my honor to welcome you, President, on behalf of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Butlungu, and the university community. You're welcome. I am not sure who is here and who isn't. We've got the Minister of Small Business Development, the Deputy Minister of Human Settlement, Water and Sanitation. We've got members of the MEC of the Eastern Cape. We have got the ANC Eastern Cape Provincial Leadership. We have got our colleagues from the ANC archives. We have got their excellencies, members of the traditional leadership of the province. We have our colleagues from the Raymond Mhlaba municipality. We have members of our council, UFH Council, our MEC, and also members of the Extended Management Committee, and all other guests. You're welcome. I would like to express our sincere appreciation to all present for being with us here today. This is an occasion to cement a very important relationship between our historic university and the African National Congress. We are here today to witness and celebrate the signing of an addendum to a 30-year-old agreement. The original agreement was signed in 1992 between the university and the African National Congress. The university was represented by Professor Sibusiso Beng at the time, and ANC was represented by President Nelson Mandela in his capacity as the president of the African National Congress at the time. So it's a historic time for us, 30 years later. But without further ado, we don't have much time. Let us get on to the program of the evening. I would like to now call upon our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Teaching and Learning, Professor Renuka Vital. And apparently we only have like a minute or two each of speaking time. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to welcome the President of the Republic of South Africa and of the ANC, His Excellency President Ramaphosa. Thank you very much for gracing our University of Fort Hare main Alice campus with your presence. I will simply use that very South African phrase, all protocol observed. And maybe in welcoming you to the university, just say a few words about the university. So you are coming to the University of Fort Hare, a university on the rise. You are joining us in what we are calling a decade of renewal, Our new strategic plan, which was approved by our council only last year, is in the first year of implementation, and this MOU is very important within that context. In the last 2 years, we've installed a new council, many new members of the Management Executive Committee, many new deans, many new academics have joined the university, and we have a new revised statute. The university obtained its first clean audit. They say they don't know if it's in the last 10 or 15 years, if we look back at the records. So it's quite an achievement that we have that. And for the first time, just recently, the University of Fort Hare was ranked internationally among 15 universities that were ranked in South Africa. So we are on the rise, and we are very pleased that you are part of this. We have just appointed, for the first time, a new Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Research, Partnerships and Innovation. And I say this because the signing of this MOU is very important in the drive for the development of new niche areas. And one of those new niche areas is the Liberation Archives. And we are working very hard as part of our strategic plan in this renewal and rebuilding program to offer new programs. So what the digitization will do is allow us to be able to offer new programs and build new research areas and possibly a Liberation Archives chair. So we are very pleased that you are here with us on this journey to produce new knowledge, new understandings of our history, new generations of scholars to take this forward. We welcome you in joining and supporting our decade of renewal. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Vital. Because of the shortened program, we're going to jump directly to Advocate Naidu, the head of legal for the ANC, to say a few words about the agreement. Krish.
Thank you, Program Director. And following on your example and Professor Vital, I'll say all protocol observed in the interest of time and go straight to what I have to say today. Now, the chairperson of the ANC Subcommittee on Archives, Comrade Baleka Mbete, requested me to provide a brief overview of the partnership between the ANC and the university and to provide context to the addendum that is being signed tonight. I'm accompanied by Comrade Zulile Impunelo from the ANC head office, Luthuli House, and by Comrade Dr. Noel Solani, who also works at the ANC Archives Committee. Now, after the unbanning of the ANC in 1990, the organization was presented with a myriad of challenges, including but not limited to the welfare needs of leaders and political prisoners who were released from Robben Island, the safe return of leaders and comrades from exile, preparation for political negotiations with the apartheid regime, preparation to be put in a position to govern by deploying comrades to various institutions inside and outside the country to be trained, and dealing with the creation of a single defense force which would include the ANC's military wing, Mkhonto Sizwe, and the military forces of other liberation movements. Notwithstanding these major challenges, the ANC had the foresight to ensure that its archival material was brought to South Africa from various parts of the world. It is this foresight which demonstrated the depth of the ANC as a mass-based liberation movement, because the archival material could have justifiably have fallen through the cracks. This foresight of Madiba and the ANC is underscored and confirmed by archivists and academics Francis Garaba and Patrick Nguluba, whose writings tell us that the struggle to liberate the continent of Africa from colonialism was a profound and all-time consuming task for Africans during the second half of the 20th century. This struggle, which led to the attainment of national independence and the birth of new nations, was a result of protracted efforts, violent and non-violent, by different liberation movements that had one common objective, that is, of dismantling colonialism. Liberation struggle archives, they maintain, reflect the diverse nature of struggle itself. As such, this history needs to be documented accurately in whatever form for the benefit of posterity, because archival material is a treasured national asset of any nation. The next issue for the ANC was to identify the institution that would serve as a repository of the ANC archives. President Nelson Mandela led the initiative and persuaded the ANC National Executive Committee that the University of Fort Hare was an obvious choice for its historical significance as an institution that educated and produced South and Southern African political leaders, leaders in civil society, religion, and academia. Fort Hare stood in a class of its own. On 26 October 1992, a historic agreement was signed by President Nelson Mandela and Professor Sibusiso Bengu, Director and Vice Chancellor of the University of Fort Hare at the time. The university undertook, in terms of that agreement, to be the custodian of the ANC archives and house it at its Center for Cultural Affairs, now known as NIHEX, the National Heritage and Cultural Studies Center, and to make the material available for academic research. The ANC and the University of Fort Hare also agreed to establish a joint management committee to implement the project and to raise funds for the various tasks. The relationship between the parties was not detailed in the agreement, but it was one based on trust. University of Fort Hare could be trusted with the safekeeping of the ANC archive. That's literally what that agreement was about. A few years later, the Joint Management Committee persuaded the principals that the material should be digitized, and necessary arrangements were made at the Cultural Center for the digitization project to get underway. The project was given a major boost with a cash injection over a number of years from MultiChoice, which also appointed and paid for a service provider to execute the task. Both the ANC and the university are indebted to MultiChoice and its past chairperson, Mr. Nono Letele, for the generous support and for extending the support beyond the initial commitment. The signing of the addendum this evening by President Ramaphosa to enable University of Fort Hare to continue with the digitization project and house the ANC collection is an endorsement of the trust relationship between the ANC and Fort Hare, which was foreshadowed by Madiba 30 years ago. Technical changes in the addendum are threefold. One is to extend the definition of the ANC collection to include all historical records and all documents and electronic material, including material of the ANC Women's League, ANC Youth League, and ANC Veteran Leagues. Two is to confirm the process of digitization, which was started a few years ago. And finally, to give the archivists of NIHEX, whilst the ANC collection under its custodianship, unlimited access to both the physical and digital material within the ANC collection, subject to observing the element of confidentiality which is set out in the main agreement. So that's essentially what this addendum is about tonight. Thank you.
We are to have a musical item at this point. Are we ready? While they're getting ready, maybe let me just run down the rest of the agenda. After the musical item, we're going to have VC to give a few words, and then President Ramaphosa. Thereafter, we're going to then do the signing, and we'll have another musical item before we get a vote of thanks from Dr. Goyan. Are they ready? Oh.
Sei sa kokun sol sobala, kuya tatang kokusobala.
bekwetejani, chelani mina ngitshela beluku, bekwetejani. Chelani mina ngitshela beluku, bekwetejani. Siphakela nababantu bayabukela kushube kakhulu abekwetejani tshelani mina ngitshela beluku abekwetejani. Chelani mina ngitshela beluku abekwetejani. Nababa kwasizotha basobe basinkofola basisakwazi kuhlula basengathi kuyathula nabo futhi sebekula nathi kalonwisamu chelani mina ngitshela beluku abekwetejani. Ukhala ubumaye maye ubaningi ngezwa ngaye chelani mina ngitshela beluku
Professor Buhlungu, you've been inspired. We're going to archive that voice. It's your turn.
Thank you very much, Program Director. I'm going to try that, but you have to close your ears first. Let me start by greeting the President of the Republic and of the ANC President Ramaphosa. Thank you very much for gracing this event this evening, President. And like everyone before me, I'm also going to say, on account of time, all protocols observed. I know we have many eminent friends and partners and comrades. I almost said comrades, yes? Comrades of the university. It is a great honor for me to welcome you to the University of Fort Hare for what is an enormously important chapter in the history of our partnership with the African National Congress. It was on the 26th of October, 1992, that the president of the ANC, before he became president of the country, Mr. Nelson Mandela, and the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Sibusiso Bengu, gave expression to the partnership by signing a Memorandum of Understanding regarding the housing of ANC archives at this university. It was no accident, like Mr. Krishnaidu said, it was no accident that our university was chosen as a custodian to the archives. The university is itself a heritage site. The ANC and the university are 4 years apart. You celebrated your centenary in 2012. We celebrated ours in 2016. We're 106 years old today. But not only that, the university has trained, during that 106 years, it has trained generations upon generations of leaders across different fields: politics, business, the arts. There's one we just witnessed just now, and many others. And many of them went on to play very important roles in society, in the same struggle that is captured by that massive archive that is housed in the building next door. Not only that, many of them went on to play a role in other movements. And we're very proud of our contribution as the university, that we've given birth not only, or supported, or trained leaders, not only for the ANC, but for a whole range of other movements. They all came here. So I'm asked to talk about marking an important moment. Actually, I'm not going to talk about one moment. I'm going to talk about three in this relationship, in this partnership. The first one, of course, was marked by the 1992 MOU and the repatriation of archives from far-flung regions of the world, across the world. You saw the installation about SOMAFCO, Solomon Mahlangu Freedom College, and from across the world. To date, we continue to receive more consignments of boxes and other materials from more recent history. You'd have seen, and I think when we did the tour just now, we're shown recent material from the early 90s. When President Ramaphosa was Secretary General, he was shown his own kind of collection there during his tenure as SG of the party. Although the bulk of the archives are in documentary form, there are also photographs, audiovisual materials, artifacts, and personal items such as Comrade Govan Begi's guitar from Robben Island. Before I came here, I never knew he could play a guitar. He was a guitar player of note. And Comrade Chris Honey's boots from his time in MK. The original MOU entrusted the university to, as it said, to take care of the archives and to make them available to academic research. It was also expressly agreed that the university shall be the custodians of the archives and related materials on a permanent basis, It is important to note that when the original MOU was signed, the country had not entered the world of the internet and email in any significant way, 1992. We didn't even have cell phones in 1992. Thus, the notion of archives and archival materials at that point was that of hard copy or physical items only. So everything was housed in that building. As a matter of fact, the MOU instructed that a building shall be constructed from scratch to house these materials. So that building was purpose-built or custom-built for these archives, the one that we went into by the university. So the focus of the agreement was the availability of premises for storage, guarding against theft and vandalism, and ensuring that the materials were stored in conditions that prevented physical deterioration, such as dampness and so on. We're proud that the university, over the last 30 years, the university has adhered to these stipulations of the custodianship. But developments in technologies ushered in the second important moment in our partnership. In the build-up to the ANC's 2012 centenary celebrations, MultiChoice funded a pilot digitization project around the centenary. It was a small kind of pilot. Once completed, MultiChoice then brought more money to start the real digitization project, which started in 2014. That was when we went full scale with digitization. And between 2014 and 2018, about 80% of the archival materials were digitized. 80%. However, I must explain that with archives, you can never digitize to completion because more boxes arrive. I'm sure we're going to receive boxes of more recent developments in the history of the ANC as we progress. So what then happened is that the funding was exhausted, was depleted. And that's the discussion now, Mr. Naidu. That's the discussion now. We need to talk about what are we going to do? More boxes are piling up, more artifacts are coming in, but what are we going to do about the next cycle of digitization? In hindsight, we as partners missed one very fundamental point. We did not pay sufficient attention to what we wanted to do with the digital archives. And the original MOU was not of any assistance in this regard. To make matters worse, or even more complicated, the digital archive was then handed to a private company, something that saw the university increasingly becoming marginal, especially in relation to the digital archive. So the third important moment, therefore, that we're marking today is that we're making good of that omission in the partnership. We're making good of that omission. The third moment started in a meeting in the room where we met upstairs, in the boardroom. A delegation from the ANC subcommittee, archive subcommittee, came. I remember there are two people I remember. Mr. Mvunelo came, and Billy Masetla. They brought a chap from the private company. And so we listened and listened and listened to this. At a certain point, I said, no. You see, we are a family here. It's time now for a domestic moment. So the first thing we did was we ejected the fellow from the private company. And we said, we now want to talk family business. Although we didn't actually physically lock the door, I said we're going to lock the door so that we as a family can settle this matter. So when we locked the door, metaphorically at least, I remember myself saying, you're not going to do this to us. We met when we were both young and beautiful, and we hit it off in a relationship, this partnership. Now, you see others, abanama high heels, abamba ngama high tops, niyasilahla endleleni, you're not going to be allowed to do it. Into isilolo hlobo. The term did not exist at the time. All I can say is that a highly robust discussion was had in that room. A highly robust discussion was had. And to make it worse, on that afternoon I was flying to Joburg. And I had forgotten about the meeting, and I bumped into Mr. Mvunelo and Budbile at the airport. We said nothing about the meeting and nothing about archives. We just made other small talk. But that meeting, it turns out, was a very important turning point because it made both sides realize that there was a gap. It made us realize there was a gap. that this company was not a legitimate party to this relationship. They're illegitimate. I'm putting it hard now. I hope they're not in the room. It was an illegitimate kind of arrangement. And once we came to that realization and that agreement as partners, then things began to fall into shape. Of course, there was a hiatus of a couple of years, COVID also included, because we've been planning. We've been phoning Sis Balega we've had many phone calls about this meeting. We've had many phone calls because we said we're not going to let go of this one. And of course, we understood at the same time because it was the diary of the president that had to permit. And therefore, it gives us immense pleasure that, Mr. President, you've been able now to make yourself available in your very, very busy diary, and I know you've had a very long day today. But once again, I would like to pay tribute to the subcommittee, because despite all the robust kind of things, level heads prevailed every time, and we managed to bring ourselves here. Now, what it says, as Mr. Krishnaidu explained, what this is about today, we're simply bringing back to Fort Hare the digital archive. If the original MOU said the physical archive will be in the permanent custodianship of the university, today, what we're going to say in this agreement is that both the digital as well as the physical are now permanently under the custodianship of the university. That's what it means. And once again, we did not fight, we did not go to the media. It happened within the four walls of that room upstairs. And we're very pleased that it happened in that way. We also pleased, I should say as I finish, we're also pleased that the relationship with the ANC on Liberation Archives also triggered other relationships. We now have separately a relationship with the Pan-Africanist movement. We house their archives there, of course smaller in terms of size and volume. We also have with the Black Consciousness movement holdings of their archives here. So once again, we're very pleased that we are the custodian of Liberation Archives in the country, if you like, on the continent. We're also pleased that that partnership and that relationship has now given rise to something else, something bigger, something broader. It's called the National Liberation and Heritages of South Africa, NALISA, which is made up of the PAC, made up of the ANC, and made up of BCM. And we're hoping that that will broaden the base. It will make us kind of leverage the relationships and funding opportunities even better for the future. Mr. President, as Professor Vital indicated, the signing of this agreement takes place at a time when our university has embarked on a very bold, confident project of institutional renewal. But let me make this point. I believe that the ANC has got something called renewal, Ninayone. I just want to make this point because history has got to be clarified. We did not plagiarize yours. I suspect that someone in the ANC overheard and I even heard a very elevated leader of the organization on TV talk about a decade of renewal. I said, yes, I knew it. The project of renewal for us, 2020-2030, includes the creation of niche programs for teaching, research, and learning. One of these, of course, is the School of Veterinary Science that will build on our current strengths, such as the Faculty of Science and Agriculture, the award-winning dairy farm along the road, as well as a state-of-the-art piggery that you can also see from the main road. We also will leverage the fact that we're located along the ocean so that we look at marine veterinary science. Now, I know there was a time in the past in 2018 before the elections, when we were very close, to getting the go-ahead for a vet school. This one, I don't want to look at the president, but I want to look somewhere. We want that vet school. We want that vet school. I'm looking that side, Mr. President. I'm not saying it at you. But more relevant to this event is our plan to establish an endowed chair, professorship, in archives and heritage studies that will leverage this rich history, this rich partnership, and we will host it here at the University of Fort Hare. It is our firm view that there's no better place in the country to host such a chair than this one. And we're very proud that that is a product of this great partnership with the ANC. And just to acknowledge one or two people, Professor Ochela is the director of NAHEX, the center that is the custodian on our behalf of the archives. Professor Ochela, yeah, that's it. That's him. And I could acknowledge many other colleagues, but I just thought that I should do that now. And once again, thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you, VC. It is now my absolute honor to call upon our president to give the presidential address. After which, Mr. President, you're going to just sit in one of these seats. We'll have the signing thereafter.
Program Director, should I also say all protocol observed? Will that be deemed to be appropriate? It's a real joy to be here. I've had what often doesn't happen in the life of a president, to can say that I had a good day in the office today. Good because it's been most inspirational in many, many ways. Having arrived, and I apologize for the late start of all this. I guess in part I can take a bit of the blame, but the largest part of the blame must be taken by the ANC leadership. Yeah, and the secretary of the province is here. He's the one who should be solely responsible. Good day in the sense that it's been largely wonderfully inspirational. Started off the day at the Royal House of the Chachabes and had a most extensive and wonderful meeting. These visits to royal houses are often to go there just so that they can open the way for us to go in their place and campaign. This time around, it ended up being a most engaging discussion on various interesting issues where they were explaining their vision and telling us how well they wanted to go beyond just being a ceremonial kingship, but also being a very developmental kingship, and that to me was most touching. And then thereafter we went to a school ceremony where we were handing out digital instruments to young people who had participated in a debate. But the most inspiring part of that was that these were young men who had participated in a debate on gender-based violence. And these are like grade 11 young people, 16 years old and so on, who at that age are already being conscientized about gender-based violence. And to me, that was most inspiring, particularly with hindsight, having had what the VC had told us about how the university is approaching issues of gender-based violence and how they're raising the level of conscientization amongst young men especially, and also engaging women, and in time to have a much broader engagement and dialogue and discussion on the university, which in many ways will lessen, I hope and trust, incidents of gender-based violence, a scourge that we have characterized as a pandemic, which we will hold a gender-based violence summit for, the second one, in a few days. And the third for me was just as we were driving to a venue where we were going to have a public meeting, to see these old women on the side of the road holding placards. And you know, when you see people protesting, sometimes as a leader, you just want to airbrush them out and go past very quickly. But then I said to my convoy guys that just stop, I want to see what they've written on their placards. And we reversed, and I said, no, I want to go and talk to them, which drove a lot of terror in the eyes and in the minds of my protectors. And it was wonderful to engage with these old women and old men who have set up a place for older people where they go daily. About 350 of them, they go there 5 days a week to be with each other. They are 65 years and older, and they get 2 meals in a day, and they get to sit and discuss issues and engage in sports activities and also go visiting around. And I had never expected this elalini, you know. You don't expect things that, you expect them in Joburg, you know, but not elalini. So that too was most inspirational, but also because one of the business people who built the stadium where we met, I told him about this. He says, no, I've been helping to support them. And it inspired me quite a lot to say that I actually want to also get involved with him to give them as much assistance as possible, because it's quite heartwarming and touching. So that too was inspiring. And of course, what always inspires president of the ANC is when you go to a rally and you find lots of people. That is always inspiring. And unfortunately, people who will have waited from like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning just to get a glimpse of their leaders. So that too. But this evening, Vice Chancellor, is even more inspiring, because you've taken us down memory lane, and in a way, let me talk about something that you spoke about that surprised you, about Gov having a guitar. And the guitar, I saw it. I also have a guitar. I do. But you asked yourself, you said, you wondered, you didn't know that he could play the guitar. I have a guitar, and I'm going to leave the question open to you, whether I can play it or not. Maybe in 100 years, it could be brought to this university, and I'll leave that question open. This evening, I feel like, you know, one could go back and talk a little bit about the history of the African National Congress, just very, very briefly. Because as we all know, formed in 1912, and there's this wonderful twist about the formation of the ANC, which many people may not be aware of. Because you say this center was purpose-built, and indeed it was purpose-built. Our Secretary General, when Madiba signed this agreement, in 1992, and obviously he had to discuss it with the ANC leadership, and we agreed to it. But 4 years later, after the ANC was formed, that was in 1916, leaders of our people decided to establish the University College of Fort Hare in 1916, so that, and later, of course, it acquired the status of a university, so that the university would continue to produce generations of leaders. And you limit yourself a bit too much, VC, by saying it has produced leaders in our country. This university has produced leaders who span the continent. A number of leaders across a number of countries on our continent were trained here. So as you correctly say, this university is indeed a national asset. And more than that, it is actually a heritage site. And Mandalanga, one of our intellectual writers and cultural activists, captures what was happening during this period in the early 20th century when he spoke about dreams. And the novel that he wrote is A Rainbow of the Paper Sky, and he says, dreams, they are necessary if only because there is always something, but he said men, and it should be men and women, that yearn to see dreams homed into reality. And our reality is the struggle, the thrust of the revolution, people engaged in shaping their own destiny and building a rock pile of resistance that would grow into a monument to their inalienable rights, to humanity. A nation that has lost its power to dream, has lost its will and capacity to fight, to sharpen the blades of struggle. Now, our forebears dreamt of a free nation. They dreamt of us being a people who would be able to govern ourselves based on the will of the people, a dream that was later captured in the Freedom Charter, where its preamble, as we all know, declares that we, the people of South Africa, declare for all in our country and the world to know that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, and so forth. Now, to achieve these dreams that our forebears had, right from 1912, they required proper vehicles to drive the attainment of these dreams. The first vehicle that they established themselves to achieve these dreams that they had was the formation of the African National Congress. I often say to people, had the ANC not been formed, one cannot even begin to imagine what would have happened to this country. The ANC gave hope to our people that if they are organized, they will be able to achieve their dreams. And the ANC remains that vehicle. VC, and I applaud you, and we join in rejoicing that Fort Hare has a decade of renewal. It's wonderful. Yours started last year. Yeah, it's the same thing. We've been permanently in renewal. And reconfirmed when I was elected president in 2017. The second vehicle to achieve these dreams that our leaders crafted was that it had to be around education. And that is why in 1916, a number of them and other people decided that this university should be established. So this university is very much a part of the history of the African National Congress. And what we are doing today cannot be separated. And let me applaud you, VC, for having fought that silent fight in your boardroom. And you did take me to your boardroom. You should have an inscription there, and say, this is where the final fight to consolidate the relationship was fought. So I see these two vehicles, the establishment or the formation of the ANC, and the establishment of the formation of Fort Hare as being the two vehicles. And in the end, this was important because in a struggle, there should be reliance on both foot soldiers, which was what we would call the African National Congress, as well as the intellectual base. So the University of Fort Hare became that intellectual home of the oppressed that fed the ANC with much needed intellectuals in its own ranks, as well as the oppressed people of our country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be aware that the struggle for the liberation of our oppressed people in South Africa took many decades. And in our case, as the African National Congress, it took much longer than we had anticipated. It took 82 years from formation of the ANC in 1912 to 1994. Even then, in 1994, as we often say, it gave us a beachhead. Just a beachhead, it did not mean that we had attained all the elements of our quest for liberation. Now, our struggle, of course, was fought in our own country, and in the course of time, our leaders were sent to exile or were driven into exile, and over time, skill base had also to be expanded. And in the passage of that time, the ANC continued to wage a struggle, and it accumulated a lot of knowledge and experience and depth of information, documents, films, and publications. And a proud moment for us was when we became unbent. We started conceptualizing that these documents that were scattered all over the world in various missions where the ANC operated had to be stored somewhere. There needed to be a repository. And Madiba had the foresight and indeed convinced the African National Congress, NEC, that there could only be one home for such storage of the information. And as we were bringing back home all this history and memory, that the University of Fort Hare could be the only place where it could be stored. So for me, it is a proud moment because we were glad when Madiba signed the Memorandum of Agreement with then Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Sbusiso Bengu, that this should be the home. And VC, you've sealed this now more permanently, and we are truly overjoyed. There's nothing that could make us even a lot happier. And I know that my sister Balega Mbete, when she does present her report also to the National Conference, which will be in December of this year, she will insert a paragraph about this moment. So this moment will also be reported to our conference, and we who are here today, who will be in that conference, will smile with a great deal of joy and pleasure, because this is truly a great moment because your university truly plays an important role in the architecture, the historic architecture of our country. And so I'm glad that I'm able to be here. I had come here before and I had seen the collection and had been aware that the agreement that had been signed with the multi-choice would lead to the digitization of records here. Of course, one was not aware that that gap that occurred would almost divert the intentions that Madiba and Professor Bengu had. So we're proud and glad that in you we have a VC who is wide awake, who was able, who was able to secure a really great future, because you could have had a situation where the digital records could have been elsewhere in the hands of a commercial enterprise, which could do all manner of things with them. And you would have had the physical here, much as this was purpose-built, and we know that it's well built as to ensure that it is not exposed to the elements. We would still be able to retain it. But in this day and age, we expect that those who are going to conduct research should be able to have greater access. And wish you luck in your two quests. The one that you did not want to look me in the eye for, and I will also not look you in the eye. I will look away. The veterinary school, I wish you great luck, because I was tempted to whisper to you, but I will not look at you and whisper, because we only have one vet school in our country, and this is anomalous. Particularly as a country, we've identified agriculture as a key component of our renewal program and reconstruction, and particularly here in the Eastern Cape. I've always argued that the Eastern Cape should really be the breadbasket of our country. And earlier today, I started counting all the elements, and I think was it the Premier or someone else who reminded me, because I said the Eastern Cape soil is really one of the great endowments that the Eastern Cape has. Great soil. It's able to produce the best beef, best mutton, and I think pigs as well, pork. When I spoke, had forgotten about citrus. We are now the second largest producer of citrus in the world. I hadn't been alive to this reality until the Spanish Prime Minister, or they call him President, there came, and we realized that they are number one in the world, and we are number two, and we are competing with them. And they are trying to block our citrus from entry into the European market. And I told him a more graphic story that, when the President of the European Union came here, it was at a time when I had been to the Eastern Cape and had spoken to a number of citrus growers, and many of them black citrus growers who are growing by number, and of course they want more land. And when the President of the European Union was here, just before he came, there was a shipment of worth 650 million rand already on the water or in the ports near Europe. And they were blocking it. They were blocking it to a point where they did not seem to care that, all those citrus products could be dumped in the sea. And all because they'd introduced a new rule that citrus coming from South Africa should be in storage for 21 days. And now they've introduced another one about the black spot and a moth, and they call it a false moth and so forth. So we are fighting that on many fronts because we want more citrus to be produced also from here in the Eastern Cape. Some is produced in Limpopo, some in the Western Cape. So the Eastern Cape is well endowed in agricultural matters, and it can be the food basket of our country, including for maize as well. So once again, looking away from you, your quest for a vet school is a good dream. Like our forebears who wanted the ANC to be formed and fought here to also become the university that you are. And I think it's something that we should keep focus on, because it will be a dream that would please everyone if it came true. And I wish you great luck as well as you seek to have a chair for the archives school or archives section. That too would be a first, possibly on our continent, and we would like to see nothing more than Fort Hare succeeding in all this. So all this VC has contributed to making my day in the office a really wonderful day. And so thank you very much for this moment. Thank you very much. So what do you want me to do?
Yeah, just sit there. And I will invite VC to please also sit, whichever. And we're going to have, we'll change them around. While we prepare for the signing, we are going to have the witnesses come through. I think for President Ramaphosa, Mam Pamela and Krish Naidu, please, you will witness. And Professor Vital and myself will witness. Yes,
No, the two of you can sign.
Okay, while we sign, we could have the musical items in the meantime.
I've never been who I wanna be. I've never felt completely free. No one's ever had all of me, or made me feel so beautiful and sexy. Now I'm flying like an airplane. Now I'm riding on the open range. Now I'm living out my destiny. I know the truth.
Thanks very much to the. Yeah, President, there's a small little ritual I want us to do. It's a surprise, and I want
Rituals in the Eastern Cape.
rituals in the Eastern Cape. I want Luko Gyongo. Where is Luko? Please come, Luko. President, this is Luko Gyongo. You may shake the president's hand. This is Luko has a surprise for you, Mr. President. Okay. Please bring the surprise for the president. I suppose I can leave the two of you here.
Luko Gyongo, Mr. Luko Gyongo is a second-year student for Masters in Visual Arts. He's a curator on top. There's an art on top. I think the president saw one of the artworks or sees hand on top. He's one of our master students in the University of Fort Hare. Thank you.
We'll have one more musical item before we close. Thank you. So we've done the signing, the purpose of this event. We're going to have one more musical item, and then we're going to ask Dr. Koyana, our council chair, deputy chairperson, to give a vote of thanks.
You've been on my mind I've been here before. Every feeling, every word, I've imagined it all. You never know if you never try to forgive your past and simply be mine. I dare you to let me be your no one and only. I promise I'm worthy to hold in your arms. So come on, just give me the chance to prove that I'm the one who can walk that mile until the end starts. I've been on your mind. You hang on every word I say. Lose yourself inside. At the mention of my name, will I ever know how it feels to hold you close and have you tell me whichever road I choose, you'll go. I don't know why I'm scared, 'cause I've been here before. Every feeling, every word, I've imagined it all. You never know if you never try to forgive your past and simply be mine. I dare you to let me be your one and only. I promise I'm worthy to hold in your arms. So come on, just give me the chance to prove that I'm the one who can walk that mile until the end starts. Come on, just give me the chance to prove that I'm the one who can walk that mile until the end starts. Thank you.
I'm proud to say that the entertainment tonight came from the UFH music department. These are our students. Yes. Dr. Goyano.
Good evening to everyone. I'd like to greet first and foremost our president, the Honorable Mr. Ramaphosa. And this evening, because of time, we've all been saying all protocol observed. Even the president said all protocol observed. So I won't be the one who's going to read the long list of dignitaries and MECs and provincial and local government officials who are here. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I had prepared something a bit longish, but because of time, I'll say something very short. However, before I go to that, I just thought it was a happy coincidence, Mr. President, that you may not remember this, but in our past life, me and you, 14 years ago, when when we had reason to have lunch together in Sandton, it was a business lunch. You said to me at the end of it, you said, you know, Sipokas, what I like about you is how passionate you are about education. You said you love education, and you said that reminded you of your mother, because your mother used to love education. She was a teacher and she loved education. And that just stuck with me, that something about my love and passion for education reminded you of your mother. So now it's really a happy coincidence that we meet again so many moons ago in an institution of academic learning. So it is sort of a very happy coincidence, but what is important about this is that it's not just any academic institution. This is a special one because this is where I was born. So my very source of my love for education started in my mother's womb right here. My father was a professor here. My father was a professor here when I was born in 1969. He was the first black professor of law. And he had also been the first person, period. My father was the first graduate at Fort Hare to get an LLB. So he was the first graduate of the university to get an LLB and then became the first black professor of law. So I was born here, so my passion for education started right here. And now we meet each other here again. Having said that, then let me just go ahead and thank the people who are here as we come to the end of our program. I would like to thank the ANC for entrusting us with its archives, inclusive of the digital archives. We are handling the physical archives with utmost professionalism and care, and with a deep commitment to their preservation and use, and will certainly do the same with the digital archives. In this regard, special thanks and appreciation go to Ms. Baleka Mbete, the chairperson of the ANC NEC Archives Subcommittee, as well as to the members of the committee for seeing this through and for their unwavering commitment. To you, Mr. President, after what has been a very long weekend, yesterday you were coronating the king of the Amazulu, and now you've had 4 engagements before getting here, and now you're still here at this late hour of the day. We thank you very heartily for honoring this event with your presence and with your signature on this important agreement. This is indeed a significant moment for the University of Fort Hare. The music, the songs that we're playing here, when I first heard the first one about, about giving myself to you and love, and what was the first song that the lady performed? Is she gone? Anyway, they're all about the consummation of desire and love, and I thought, is this appropriate, such a function? But then now I realize that this whole thing is about the renewal of the vows. So it's all about passion and consuming that relationship. However, after what you just told us about the history of the ANC giving birth to the University of Fort Hare, now I think it's an incestuous relationship. So I'm now getting all kinds of things like, now it's mother and daughter or father and son, I don't know. But there's a lot going on here. I'm reading all kinds of things because I'm a literary scholar. So in literature, you make all kinds of connections between symbols and meanings. So now, I don't know about this giving all myself to you. But I thank the ministers. I've already mentioned the ministers and their deputies, the MECs, the mayors who are here, councillors, Buffalo City Municipality, Amatole District Municipality, Raymond Mhlaba Municipality. Thank you, all of you, for coming to this historic town this evening. I thank the academics who are here, the deputy vice chancellors, and the members of the management executive committee at the university. On behalf of council, I thank you, Professor Buhlungu, and I know that the archives are in very safe hands with you at the helm. I'd like to thank also on behalf of council all the speakers who spoke today, Advocate Naidu and Prof. Vital and the other people who were able to say a word or two, especially the president. I did some research last night, and I researched the whole importance and role and meaning of archives, and I learned a lot about living archives, but I won't be able to say that now because we're pushed for time. But I had very brilliant comments to make about this university as a living archive, and I was going to convince you and define what that means, but there's no time for all of that theory now. So I will just go ahead and thank our students who performed from the art department. The gift for the president, I think, is brilliant. And Mr. Toby next to me was asking, are these your students? Yes, these are our students. These are proudly our University of Fort Hare students. They are very talented across many disciplines. It's a pity you missed our choir. We have an outstanding choir. They never disappoint. So thank you very much for all the live performances. Thank you to the people who prepared the food, the caterers, the deco. We thank you, everyone who has had any role in making this successful evening, for whatever skills or time you put into it. Even if I don't mention you by name, do know that you are appreciated. This includes the bodyguards, the drivers who make these events possible. And today I also got to be picked up and driven to Fort Hare, so I got a driver. So thank you to my driver who's now going to drive me back home to East London. So all of these people make this a success, and we don't take those contributions lightly. So finally, on behalf of the university, we thank the Institutional Advancement Office for the care with which they put this event together. Your professionalism and dedication make all the difference. So on behalf of Council, I would like to just really thank everyone, even those people who are joining us virtually from digital devices, because I understand this is being streamed online. So our students who are not here and all other guests who are watching us virtually, do know that your presence in cyberspace is important in this event. It will help with the transmission of the memory of this event and put it into history in digital form as well as make it sort of more accessible to more people. So thank you for your presence and for sharing it. Thank you very much to everyone. With those words, I wish everyone a safe trip back home, and ask that God will bless you and give you peace until we meet again.
Just move this. Yeah. Just move this whole thing. Move it.